Hey everyone, Kevin here with Victory 4x4. Today in the garage we're going to be installing our rear cargo pocket MOLLE in the back of our GX 550. So this is a two-part product, so we have the inner and outer panel here. The inner is the one we're going to install first, but first off we need to get this actual cover out of the way. That's as simple as grabbing the factory handle and pulling out and slightly upward to release these tabs. And this essentially is garbage at this point, so save it if you wish, throw it away, whatever works for you. Now if you've installed any of our door MOLLEs or even center console MOLLE panels before, this is going to be pretty much the exact same style install as those. You've got 4 small round holes on here that are going to accept 4 of our coarse thread screws, and then on the back side of those we provide you nylon spacers to hold it off of the plastic in there and give you a little room to route straps to secure your gear. So basically you need to line this panel up inside of this cutout, just paying attention to the small angled notch on what will be the top back corner. Essentially you'll just place the panel in here and line it up where it's most visually appealing, making sure it looks nice and centered in there. And then you can either use a marker, or we just have a sharp point pick or punch, if you will, that we're going to go through and mark all 4 of these hole locations. So once you have those marked in a way that they stand out and you can see them pretty well, that's usually all you're going to need as a pilot or starter for these coarse thread screws. Worst case, if you're having any trouble with that, find a 1/16 inch drill bit and just drill a small pilot hole there, keeping in mind that you don't necessarily know exactly what's behind here, so just go far enough to get started in that plastic and don't drill through and potentially damage anything in behind there. From there, take the screw along with one of the spacers to slide on the back side, and then from there you'll either need a Phillips driver or screwdriver. I'm just going to caution you, if you're using a drill driver or impact like I have here, don't over tighten these. Again, you are just going into plastic, so keep that in mind and use a little bit of caution there. And then again, just get it lined up with your mark. And then start that screw. From here, you just repeat that process on the remaining 3 screws. Obviously, this is just a little bit tedious, but not difficult by any means. So you may just have to reach in either over the top through these MOLLE holes or underneath and slide the spacers upward so that you can then line up these screws and get these started. And from there, again, just grab a Phillips screwdriver to both kind of finish tightening these up, as well as just double check that you're tight if you used a drill or driver, before we move on to this outside panel. As for the outside panel, again, it's kind of only going to fit in here one way as it's contoured to the factory plastic. You've got 3 round holes along the top that are going to bolt through the rectangular cutouts you have here from the factory, and then a couple locking tabs that are going to bolt through the 2 round holes down here, all using the smaller stainless button head hardware we have here. You can really start anywhere, but we're just going to jump to the top center hole. This panel does have a seam here, so you may have to just slightly line that up during this step, and then you can pass the bolt through both the panel and the factory plastic. This is where you'll need to grab an 1/8 inch hex, which might help you get that started as well. And then you can start that nylock nut by hand on the inside. Ideally, you're going to start all 3 of these before you tighten anything up. And then coming down to the bottom, you'll find these 2 lower clamp brackets, which you're going to install like this against the back of the panel so that this tab is grabbing the factory plastic tab underneath. So slide that in, line it up, and then install another of those stainless button heads and nylocks. And then repeat the same process on the second hole location back here. And from there you can take that 1/8 inch hex and a 3/8 wrench and tighten these up. Just make sure that the tabs don't rotate when you're tightening these, and then don't over tighten up on the top side where you're just clamping against plastic. So use a little bit of caution there and finish this thing up. So that's really all there is to this install. Now you're going to be left with a more functional gear storage solution back here. As always, if you guys have any questions about this or anything we offer here at Victory 4x4, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can always send us an email at info@victory4x4.com or call us at 269-459-8447.